Following on our previous segments on networking your school, I have with me Bert Noah. Welcome, Bert.
Thank you, Phil.
You're the product manager for networking and server products at AC Computer.
Correct.
Great. And this segment we're going to dedicate to file servers in the school, which is a very important piece of equipment for the school network, I understand.
It sure is.
All right, so you're going to cut through a lot of the terminology and things and help us understand, teach us understand what to look for in a file server.
I will do my best, Phil.
Great, thank you.
We'll put it in 3 sections. First of all, what a file server is, what do they do, and the key components in a file server.
Great.
A file server basically is a central depository. It's a secure depository for information, being data or programs. That's really the simplest way. What do they do? They control access to the data. They are a central device for communications, so things like email, things like internet access, faxing, and the like. And of course, you put all your programs in there. The key components that you need to watch out for in a file server, that every file server should have, there are 5 main components, which is the CPU, then you've got the memory, then storage subsystem, and the power.
So a file server in the school is a lot like, it can be likened to a school library.
It sure is, and that's actually the analogy that I will use.
Okay.
You think of a file server as a library. Let's just take the CPU. The CPU, you can equate the CPU with, take the analogy of a librarian. The CPU has 4 basic elements, which is how many CPUs a file server has, which they could be 1, 2, or 4 CPUs, and of course you can go, if you have a bigger school, you can go 8 or 16.
Oh, really?
Yes. Okay. And the CPU, you can equate the CPU to a librarian, the number of CPUs. Of course, more librarians in the library, you'll have...
better service.
Correct.
Yeah.
The second one is the speed of the CPU, and you can equate that to the efficiency of the librarian. Some of them are less efficient than others. The third one is the cache and the cache type. Cache of the CPU is could be related to the experience of the librarian. More experienced librarians, they don't have to go back and check things. They know all the procedures by heart. They don't have to check the manuals. And the cache type is the efficiency of the librarian. So in the CPUs, there's a cache type called ECC, which is error checking and correction. So every time that there's any bit of information goes to the file server, the CPU actually checks and makes sure that I calculated this correct. If it's not correct, then it's corrected.
Okay, so the effect is that all the information will be much more precise and everything will work
correct. And that's why there's a distinct difference between a file server being from the ground up versus a PC. So you cannot use a PC as a file server.
A lot of schools say, why can't we use one of our desktop PCs as a file server? And I think you've touched on something important here, is that the whole architecture and the responsibility that it has is much more important and different to
it's the same reason why you cannot use a standard house as a library. Because you don't have the corridors.
Designed differently.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Great.
So that's the best analogy. Then the memory of the file server, there's the size, there's the speed, and the type. And the size of the memory, you can use the analogy of how many service desks you have in the library. So people actually don't have to queue up. If you've got only one service desk, then everyone is queuing up.
It'll be a long line.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So the more memory you have, the better it is, because you don't have any queue. Okay. The speed, of course, is the efficiency of the people sitting behind those counters to serve you. And the type is, again, the discipline, which is the error checking and correction, also on the memory. So you've got 2 elements. You've got ECC on the CPU and you've got ECC on the memory. Okay. Then the storage. The storage is really simple. It's like how many cabinets and how many shelves you have in a library. And that's the size of the storage. And they could be from 4 gigabyte up to multiples of terabytes. So you can have 4, 8, or 19 gigs.
As much as your budget will allow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's why it's very important for you to look at a file server that will allow you to grow, if you know that you're going to grow. Okay. If you just go for a small library, you cannot expand more shelves. So that's the same analogy. Then there are elements within the storage, which is what we call high high availability solution. You can have the storage to be redundant, which means if one of them failed, you have another one that actually picks up, and the school does not even feel any effect of that. So you can change it anytime you like.
Okay.
The third element is the high availability of the file servers, and there's so many components in that. One of them is, as I mentioned, is the RAID, which is redundant array of inexpensive disks, which means that you can have 4 or 5 drives, and one of them will pick up from the other. The other one is the power supply. So you can have 2 power supplies in the file server. If one of them blows up, correct, the other one is still running and the file server is still running.
And obviously that's important, because if the power goes, the server goes and the whole network goes.
Correct, correct. And you can have things like the UPS, and the issues involved around the server are things like backup. You make sure that you back up your file server, because it is where all the information is. And Acer has a whole suite of file servers, serving from your small 15 users up to 250 users and up to 500 users.
All right, so these are, thank you for this. These are some of the main points. I think there are probably more questions resulting from what you've said than perhaps answers, but I think the best thing is that if customers go and see their Acer Education reseller,
correct,
and they can evaluate what their needs are, you know, with all of the features that you've listed.
Correct. It is as serious as people buying a house or getting into a school.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
You're welcome.
We have with us again Anne Glover. Welcome, Anne.
Hello, Phil.
And Carmen Sandiego. The quest continues.
She's at it again.
She's at it again?
This
You've got a new title.
Yes, she's stolen the world's words and she's turned them into gobbledygook.
Oh, okay.
So this time the children's role is to search for clues and passwords, to use words, to reassemble words, to spell words. Okay. So it's all word-oriented.
So what Carmen did for geography, she's now doing for language.
That's true.
Okay. Can we have a quick look at the software?
Certainly. We need to travel the world, have a look around and find some exercises, some word exercises. Spelling is in here, word searches and word assembly. Here we have a list of words that we need to find just on a word search. So we can find perhaps dies, click on the letters. By doing the work, we earn
points.
Earn the points. And we may even save some of the other people who have been out there trying to save the words as well. We're agent number 13.
Oh, okay.
12
so there are other agents
are locked away. So we continue to find words. Good one for children to use at home. And the idea is that because it's setting a scenario, a story for the children, they're more likely to do the word exercises rather than just being given the exercises in isolation.
Here's 20 exercises, you know, and here's your score.
Certainly, there's a purpose to it. We're saving the world again.
Lovely graphics in here. I know that we quickly went through it, but there was like a 3-dimensional look where you could explore.
That's right. So we have a list of words here, and the spelling words in context where they'll see a whole sentence and a word's missing. They'll have to place the right word in there as well. 5 activities, different levels of difficulty. It's a program that you can get a fair amount of use out of.
So it's a new title distributed by Dataflow, and it's called Carmen Sandiego Word Detective.
That's right.
And we have Ron from Scholastic showing us some graphic software.
Certainly have, Phil. I've got some great graphic software, and it's really, the thing that's good about it is it's easy to use. So let's get into this one. It's called Super Goo.
Super Goo.
Now, basically, if you've got a digital camera, you've got a scanner, or you've got images from the internet, or you've got some electronic images you might want to learn how to enhance, or just do some digital imagery with them.
Yeah.
So if I go around here, I can click on this tool here, and then as I bring it over, you'll see that I'll make the eye smaller. Oh, that's a bit nasty, but...
Give the 2 like that.
Or I can make a bit of a swirl on here.
So most schools would have a camera or a scanner.
Most schools would certainly have scanners and digital cameras, and as they're going into the world of setting up their website, there's a fair chance they're going to have a use for digital imaging software, and Super Goo is certainly a fun piece. I've gone to the Fusion room this time, and I'm going to take that image and I'll go to the Fusion room, and this is sort of almost like the police identical photo shot. So you can add your moustaches, your hats, and you can combine some of those features and perhaps create a new person. So we've got, if we didn't like, we can alter that particular feature there. We can add a hat to this person. It's one of the first tiles which is basically called a bit of funware, really.
Computer studies students that were looking at multimedia or morphing or some of those types of applications, they could have used this.
We find there's a great growth in the graphic design area, in the TV production, in the video production, and website design. So there's plenty of job opportunities out there for kids. I'm just changing the nose now here, and I'll just change the mouth on this person here. And I could print out that image, or I could just have no images at all. I could even go down to this one here and just have a complete random image.
Excellent.
Is that someone you know?
Thanks, Ron. So Ron, for high school art teachers or students that wanted a more powerful product to do work with digital images, you know, what have you got there?
Well, I've got this terrific product called Kai's Power Soap. This allows people who've got scanners, once again, or digital images, or people who want to produce, say, their school newsletter, or they want to produce some art for their website. They can enhance the actual digital images that they've got. They may have captured some images on a, say, dull day, and you can go through and enhance them. I'll show you, for example, on this one here. First of all, I've brought in an image of a young baby, and I'll crop that image. And the idea with this particular part of the tool was to actually just prepare it. I'll just go now into the tone room. So I've cropped that particular image to the size I want. I'm going to apply it. There's about a 5-step process of actually producing an image, and I'll try and get that down in 3 minutes' time. So I've basically cropped out the young child's head.
Oh, excellent.
I can now enhance the tone to the settings that I like, or with even some more detail over here. So if I've got something I like, and I'm quite happy with that, I can now go through into the colour room. So it's introducing students to the sort of things which happen in all the publishers when they're taking digital images and making up...
Colorising them and...
Exactly, flyers, or they're producing magazines. They may start with a school magazine, they may actually end up with a career in publishing.
And actually enhancing JPEG images or GIF files for the school website would be useful?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like it's good to have an image, but it's even better to have a better looking image. I can add some detail to it now. I've got some different detail down here. If I wanted to, say, sharpen the look of the young child's nose, I can move over that, and you may be able to see that that nose is a little bit more prominent. If I'm happy with that particular image, I'll now go into the finish room.
I recognise that name.
And here's that image, and I'll set you up there, Phil. I think I've just added, it's a little shot of Phil when he's young, and there's his piggy bank, and we can make Phil a little bit bigger.
Excellent. On my birthday.
You were such a cutie.
I want to thank you for that.
So there's the export image, and that can go straight to the website. And
or for print. Great.